The massive space station floated in the darkness like a metal city among the stars. Ships from dozens of different worlds came and went from its docking bays. Inside the main council chamber, representatives from the most powerful races in the galaxy sat around a circular table. Ambassador Davis walked through the long hallways of the Galactic Council Station. His footsteps echoed on the metal floors. He had been called here for an emergency meeting, but nobody had told him what it was about. The human embassy was still new to this place. Earth had only joined the galactic community 5 years ago. Council chamber doors opened with a soft hiss. Davis stepped inside and saw the familiar faces of alien diplomats he had worked with before. There was Commander Tor from the Altarian Empire, a tall being with blue skin and forearms. Next to him sat Counselor Nex from the Centauri Federation, whose silver scales caught the light from the ceiling. At the far end of the table, Representative Gull from the Rigel Consortium tapped his clawed fingers on the surface. Ambassador Davis, Commander Tor, spoke in his deep voice. "Please, take your seat. We have important matters to discuss." Davis sat down in the chair marked for Earth's representative. The other aliens looked serious, more serious than usual. Something was wrong. "What is this meeting about?" Davis asked. Counselor Nex leaned forward. "We are here to discuss the situation with the Villani race and their homeworld, Viridian Prime." Davis had heard that name before, but only in passing. "The Crystal People? What about them?" "The Villani are dying," Commander Tor said simply. "Their entire race is facing extinction. Their planet is becoming toxic. Their people are getting sick and cannot be cured." Representative Gull made a clicking sound with his throat. "We have all tried to help them. The Altarian Empire sent their best doctors. The Centauri Federation provided advanced medical equipment. My own people offered to relocate them to new worlds. But nothing worked," Nex added. "The Villani refuse to leave their planet. They say they are connected to it. Without Viridian Prime, they believe they will die anyway." Davis listened carefully. "So what does this have to do with Earth?" The three alien representatives looked at each other. Commander Tor spoke first. "Galactic Council has made a decision. We are officially ending all diplomatic relations with the Villani. Closing our embassies on Viridian Prime. No more trade, no more aid, no more contact." "You were giving up on them?" Davis asked. "You're being practical," Gull replied. "The Villani have maybe 10 years left before their race dies out completely. Spending more resources on them would be waste. Those resources can help other worlds that actually have a future." Davis felt something cold in his stomach. "But they are intelligent beings. They have families, culture, history." "Yes, and soon they will all be gone," Nex said without emotion. "This is how the galaxy works, Ambassador. Species rise and fall. The strong survive, the weak do not. It is natural law." Commander Tor pulled up a holographic display above the table, showed a planet covered in purple clouds. "This is Viridian Prime today. The atmosphere is poisonous. The surface is covered in toxic mist. The Villani cities are cracking and falling apart." The image changed to show the Villani themselves. They looked like living crystals in the shape of people. But in the recent pictures, their bodies were dark and cracked. Some of them could barely stand up. "Their crystal biology is breaking down," Tor explained. "The planet is killing them slowly. Every day, more of them die. Every day, they get weaker." "What caused this?" Davis asked. "Nobody knows for sure," Gull answered. "It started about 50 years ago. First, small areas of their planet became toxic. Then it spread. Now most of Viridian Prime is uninhabitable." Nex touched a button, and the hologram disappeared. "The point is, Ambassador, that this situation is hopeless. Every major power in the galaxy agrees. The Villani are a lost cause." Davis looked around the table. "And you want Earth to agree with this decision?" "We want Earth to understand reality," Commander Tor said firmly. "Your species is new here. You do not understand how things work. Sometimes you have to make hard choices." "The Villani have nothing to offer," Gull added. "Their technology is primitive. Their planet has no valuable resources. Their population is small and getting smaller. There is no benefit to maintaining relations with them. Davis felt angry, but he kept his voice calm. What if Earth wants to try helping them? The three aliens looked surprised. The next laughed, a sound like breaking glass. You cannot be serious. 3 advanced civilizations have tried and failed. What makes you think a young race like humanity could succeed? Maybe we can find a different approach, Davis suggested. Commander Tor shook his head. Ambassador, I will give you some advice. In this galaxy, reputation matters. If Earth wastes time and resources on the Villani, other species will think humans are foolish. It will hurt your standing in the galactic community. Think about your future, Gull said. Earth has potential. Your people are clever and determined. But if you make bad decisions, if you choose the wrong allies, you will damage your chances for growth. Representative Nex stood up from his chair. The vote has already been taken. The Villani are officially classified as a non-viable civilization. All major powers have agreed to end contact with them. We are simply informing Earth of this decision. What if we disagree? Davis asked. When you disagree alone, Commander Tor replied, and you will face the consequences of that choice. The meeting ended shortly after. Davis walked back through the station corridors, thinking about what he had heard. The Villani were dying, and nobody wanted to help them anymore. The galaxies. Most powerful races had simply decided to let them fade away. Back at the human embassy, Davis sent a message to Earth Command. He explained everything that had happened in the meeting. He described the Villani situation and the Galactic Council's decision to abandon them. 3 days later, he received a reply. It was short and simple. Prepare for contact mission 2, Viridian Prime. Captain Ross and the exploration vessel Endurance are being dispatched immediately. Davis stared at the message for a long time. Earth was going to try where everyone else had given up? He was not sure if this was brave or stupid. Maybe both. Meanwhile, in a distant part of space, Captain Ross stood on the bridge of the Endurance. The ship was not the biggest or most advanced vessel in the human fleet, but it was reliable. The crew was experienced in first contact situations. Sir, we have received our orders, Lieutenant Bell said from the communications station. We are to proceed to Viridian Prime and establish contact with the Villani. Dr. Torres, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from her research station. Captain, I have been reading about this race. The other powers could not help them. Their situation seems hopeless. Engineer Sullivan turned from his console. Sir, the reports say their planet is toxic. It might not even be safe for us to land. Captain Ross looked out at the stars through the main view screen. Maybe it is hopeless. Maybe we will fail just like the others. But we are going anyway. Why, sir? Bell asked. Ross was quiet for a moment. Then he said, because someone should try. Because giving up on people is not what humans do. The Endurance changed course toward Viridian Prime, carrying the only hope the Villani had left. The Endurance dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Viridian system. Captain Ross stood on the bridge looking at the main screen. In the distance, a planet hung in space like a sick jewel. Purple clouds covered most of its surface, swirling in strange patterns. My God, Dr. Torres whispered from her station. It looks like the whole planet is poisoned. Lieutenant Bell checked his instruments. Captain, I am reading high levels of toxic gases in the atmosphere. The air down there would kill most carbon-based life forms in minutes. Engineer Sullivan frowned at his readings. The energy signatures are all wrong, too. Something is very unstable in the planet's core. The magnetic field keeps shifting. Captain Ross studied the planet carefully. From space, he could see the ruins of what must have once been beautiful cities. They looked like they were made of crystal, but now many of them were dark and broken. Take us into orbit, Ross ordered, but keep our distance. I want to scan the planet before we make contact. The ship moved closer to Viridian Prime. As they got nearer, the crew could see more details. The crystal cities that still had light were dim and flickering. Large areas of the planet's surface were covered in what looked like purple poison clouds. Captain Dr. Torres called out, I am picking up life signs. The Villani are still alive. Down there, but their numbers are much lower than the old reports suggested. How many? Ross asked. Torres checked her instruments twice. Maybe 200,000. The records from 50 years ago showed they had over 10 million people. The bridge fell silent. In 50 years, the Villani had lost 95%. Of their population, sir? Lieutenant Bell said quietly. We are receiving a transmission from the planet. Put it on screen. The image that appeared showed a being that looked like it was made of living crystal. But this crystal was dark and cracked in many places. The Villani's face was hard to read, but there was something in its eyes that looked like deep sadness. This unknown vessel, the Villani said in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. You should not be here. This world brings only death. Leave now, for your own safety. Captain Ross stepped forward. My name is Captain Ross of the Earthship Endurance. Come in peace. We want to help your people. The Villani's expression did not change. Help? Many have said this word before. The blue ones with 4 arms came with their medicines. Silver-scaled ones brought their machines. The clawed ones offered to take us away from our world. All failed. All left. You should leave too. We are different, Ross said simply. Different. Villani made a sound that might have been laughter, but it was hollow and bitter. You are made of soft flesh, like some of the others. You breathe oxygen like them. You will die in our poisoned air just like them. How are you different? Dr. Torres moved closer to the communication station. May I speak? She asked the captain. Ross nodded. My name is Dr. Torres, she said to the Villani. I study different forms of life. I would like to learn about your people, about your world. Not to fix you, but to understand you. The Villani was quiet for a long moment. I am Elder Kane. I speak for those who remain of our kind. Dr. Torres. Your words sound kind, but understanding will not save us. Nothing can save us now. Maybe not, Torres admitted, but we would still like to try. Would you allow us to visit your world? Elder Kane's crystal body seemed to dim even more. Our air will kill you. Our ground is poisoned. Even if you wear protection suits, the toxins will find ways to hurt you. Why would you risk this? Captain Ross spoke up. Because someone should try. Because your lives have value. Value. Elder Kane repeated the word like he had never heard it before. The powerful races of the galaxy do not think we have value. They have declared us finished, ended, lost. They were wrong, Ross said firmly. Elder Kane stared at the humans. Through the screen for a long time, finally he said, if you wish to come to our world and die with us, that is your choice. I will send you coordinates for a landing site, that is. It's less dangerous than most places. The transmission ended. The bridge crew looked at each other. Captain Sullivan said, Are we really going down there? The readings show that even our environmental suits might not protect us for long. The Altarians had better equipment than us, Lieutenant Bell added. If they could not survive on that planet, how can we? Ross looked at the poisoned world on the screen. Maybe we will fail. Maybe we will not be able to help them. But we are going to try anyway. 2 hours later, a small landing shuttle left the Endurance. Captain Ross, Dr. Torres, and Engineer Sullivan were aboard, along with 2 security officers. They all wore heavy environmental suits designed to filter out toxic gases. The shuttle descended through the purple clouds. The ride was rough because of the unstable magnetic fields. Outside the windows, they could see the toxic mist swirling. Around them, like angry spirits, landing site coming up, Sullivan reported from the pilot's seat. Elder Kane was right. This area seems less poisoned than the rest. They landed near what had once been a large crystal city. Now, only about half of the buildings still glowed with inner light. The rest were dark and cracked.
Nice.
As they stepped out of the shuttle, they could see Villani approaching them. There were about 20 of them, moving slowly. Their crystal bodies were beautiful, even though they were damaged. Some of them could barely walk because of the cracks in their forms. Elder Kane stepped forward. Up close, he was taller than the humans had expected, maybe 8 feet high. His crystal body had once been clear like diamond, but now it was cloudy and full of dark lines. Welcome to our dying world, he said. His voice was sad but still musical. I am sorry you will witness our end.
Out.
Dr. Torres took out her scanning equipment. Elder Kane, May I ask you some questions about your people and your planet, you may ask? But know that others have asked the same questions. They learned much about us. It did not help.
Oh.
Torres began her scans while she talked.
Tell me about
How your people live. How do you eat? How do you reproduce?
how are you connected to this planet?
Elder Kane explained that the Villani did not eat food like other species. They absorbed energy directly from their crystal cities and from the planet itself. Their young were grown in special crystal gardens deep underground. Most importantly, they could not live away from Viridian Prime for more than a few months. The planet was part of them, and they were part of it. This is why we cannot leave, Kane said. Other races offered to take us to new worlds, but we would die there just as surely as we are dying here. Engineer Sullivan was taking readings of the toxic atmosphere. Elder Kane, when did this poisoning begin? Was there a specific event that started it? It began slowly about 50 years ago. First, just small areas became bad. We thought it would pass, but it spread. Now, most of our world is like this. Kane gestured at the purple mist around them. Dr. Torres looked at her scanner readings with surprise. This is strange, Elder Kane. This poison is not coming from the surface. It is coming from deep underground. Yes, Kane nodded sadly. We know this. The heart of our world is sick. It bleeds poison that rises up through the ground and into our air. Our best crystal singers have tried to heal it, but they only made themselves sick. Crystal singers? Torres asked. Those among us who can hear the songs of the crystals, they can feel the planet's pain. But the poison has made the planet's song ... wrong, twisted. It hurts them to listen to it now. Captain Ross had been quiet, but now he spoke. Elder Kane, what if the problem is not sickness? What if it is something else? The Villani leader looked at him with curiosity. What do you mean? What if your planet's core is not sick, but damaged? What if something broke inside your world, and that is causing the poison? Elder Kane considered this. The other races said it was a plague. A disease that spread through our world? Maybe they were wrong, Ross suggested. Before Elder Kane could answer, alarms began sounding from the shuttle. Lieutenant Bell's voice came through their communication devices. Captain, we have a problem. 3 ships just appeared in orbit. They are Altarian vessels, and they are demanding to speak with you immediately. Ross looked up at the poisoned sky. It seems our presence here has been noticed. Elder Kane's crystal body seemed to darken even more. The blue ones with 4 arms have returned. They will try to stop you from helping us, just as they stopped others. DOS. Let them try, Ross said quietly. Captain Ross stood on the surface of Viridian Prime, looking up at the purple sky. Through the toxic clouds, he could see the dark shapes of 3 Altarian warships hanging in orbit like metal vultures. Captain, Lieutenant Bell's voice crackled. Through the communication device, Admiral Vex is demanding to speak with you. He says if you do not respond in 10 minutes, he will consider your mission a threat to galactic security. Elder Kane moved closer to Ross. His crystal body caught. What little light filtered through the poisoned atmosphere. The blue ones are angry that you came here. They do not want anyone to help us. Why? Dr. Torres asked. She was still taking readings with her equipment, trying to understand the Villani biology. Because if someone succeeds where they failed, it makes them look weak, Kane explained. The powerful races do not like to look weak. Ross touched his communication device. Bell, tell Admiral Vex that I will speak with him in 1 hour. We are conducting important research. Sir, he will not like that answer. I do not care what he likes, Ross replied. Engineer Sullivan was examining the crystal buildings around. The structures were unlike anything humans had ever seen. They grew from the ground like living things, but they were clearly made by intelligent design. Elder Kane, Sullivan called out. These buildings? How were they made? Oh, the Villani. Leader walked over to where Sullivan stood. We do not build like other races. We sing our cities into existence. The crystals hear our songs and grow in the patterns we need. Sullivan looked amazed. You mean these entire cities were grown, not constructed? Yes, it takes many crystal singers working together, and many years of patient singing. But the crystals respond to our voices. They want to help us. Kane's voice became sad. But now, the poison makes it hard for crystals to grow. New buildings die before they can form properly. Dr. Torres had been listening while she worked. Elder. Kane, may I meet one of these crystal singers? I would like to understand how your people communicate with your world. Kane nodded and led them deeper into the city. They passed many Villani who watched the humans with curious but hopeless eyes. Some of the aliens were so damaged by the poison that they could barely move. Others helped them walk, supporting their cracked crystal bodies. In the center of the city, they found a young Villani sitting beside a small crystal garden. She was trying to sing to the crystals, but her voice was weak, and the crystals were not responding well. This is Lyra, Elder Kane said. She was one of our most gifted singers before the poison grew strong. Now, like all of us, she struggles to connect with our world. Lyra looked up at the humans. Her crystal body was clearer than Elder Kane's, but dark veins of poison ran through it like cracks in glass. When she spoke, her voice was like gentle music. Are you the soft ones who came to watch us die? She asked. Dr. Torres knelt down beside her. We came to learn about you, to see if we can help. Help? Lyra made a sound that was almost laughter. The blue ones with 4 arms tried to help. They gave us medicines that made us sick. The silver-scaled ones brought machines that could not hear our planet's songs. The clawed ones wanted to take us away from our home. None of them understood. What did they not understand? Torres asked gently. Lyra placed her hand on the dying crystals in the garden. They tried to fix us, like we were broken machines. But we are not machines. We're part of this world, and this world is part of us. You cannot fix us by changing us. You can only help us by healing our world. Sullivan had been listening carefully. But what if we approached this differently? What if instead of trying to cure you, we tried to fix whatever is wrong with your planet? Elder Kane shook his head. Others have tried this too. They sent machines deep into our world's core. The machines melted. They tried to use advanced technology to clean our atmosphere. Did not work. They tried to build shields around our cities. Poison found ways through. But those were alien approaches, Ross said thoughtfully. What if we used human methods? What do you mean? Lyra asked. Ross looked around at the struggling crystal city. Every other race that came here tried to solve your problem with advanced technology. They sent robots and computers and automated systems. But what if the solution needs something simpler? Dr. Torres was beginning to understand. You mean? Something that requires actual people to do the work. Not machines. Exactly, Ross said. On Earth, when we have problems with unstable ground or dangerous mining conditions, we do not always use robots. Sometimes we need human workers who can think and adapt and feel their way through the problem. Sullivan's eyes lit up with understanding. The other species said the magnetic fields around your planet's core are too chaotic for automated systems. But human miners are used to working in dangerous, unpredictable conditions. Elder Kane looked confused. You were saying that your primitive methods might work where advanced technology failed. It is possible, Ross said. Dr. Torres, what have your scans shown about the source of the poison? Torres checked her equipment. The readings suggest that something deep in the planet's core is cracked or broken. It is releasing toxic materials that rise up through the rock and soil. If we could seal whatever is broken down there, poison would stop, Lyra finished. But the core is thousands of miles down. How could anyone reach it? Sullivan was already thinking like an engineer. We would need to drill, deep core drilling. It is dangerous work, but humans have done it before on Earth. The blue ones tried drilling, Elder Kane said. Their machines could not handle the unstable magnetic fields. Their machines, Sullivan repeated. But what about human drillers? Working with Villani crystal singers? Everyone looked at him with surprise. Think about it, Sullivan continued. You said crystal singers can feel the planet's songs even if they are twisted now. What if human drillers worked together with singers? The humans could handle the physical drilling, while the Villani could guide them by listening to the planet's responses. Lyra sat up straighter, her crystal body glowing a little brighter. You mean, ... we could work together, your people and ours? Why not? Dr. Torres said. Every other race tried to help you by themselves. Maybe the answer is cooperation. Elder Kane was quiet for a long time. Finally, he said, "This idea, it is different from what others have suggested. But even if it could work, it would be incredibly dangerous. The core drilling would have to go through the most poisonous parts of our world. Many could die." "People die in dangerous work sometimes," Ross said simply. "But that does not mean the work should not be attempted." Then Ross's communication device activated. Captain Lieutenant Bell's voice was urgent. "Admiral Vex is getting impatient. He is saying that if you do not return to orbit immediately, he will report your mission as a violation of galactic law." Ross looked at Elder Kane and Lyra. "What do you think?" Elder Kane looked at the dying crystals. Around them, he looked at Lyra, whose young life was being slowly destroyed by the poison. He looked at the humans who had come so far to help people they had never met. "The other races came here with pride," he said slowly. "They wanted to show how advanced they were. They wanted to prove their technology was superior. But you are offering to work with us, to risk your lives alongside ours." "Yes," Ross said. "That is exactly what we are offering." Lyra stood up, her crystal body chiming like bells in the wind. "Then let us try. Let us work together and see if we can heal our world." Elder Kane nodded. "I will call together the remaining crystal singers. If you are willing to risk everything to help us, then we are willing to risk everything to help ourselves." Dr. Torres smiled. "Then we have a plan." Above them, the Altarian ships continued to wait in orbit, growing more impatient by the hour. But on the surface of Viridian Prime, something new was beginning. For the first time in 50 years, the Villani had hope. Captain Ross stood in the communication room of the Endurance, facing the angry blue face of Admiral Vex on the main screen. The Altarian's forearms moved in sharp gestures as he spoke. "Captain Ross, you are making a serious mistake," Admiral Vex said, his voice full of anger. "The Galactic Council has declared the Villani situation hopeless. Your continued presence here violates the official decision." "The Galactic Council made their decision," Ross replied calmly. "Earth made a different one." Admiral Vex's blue skin darkened with rage. "Do you understand what you are risking? If humanity continues this foolish mission, you will face serious consequences. Trade sanctions, diplomatic isolation, exclusion from galactic affairs. We understand the risks." Ross said, "Then you also understand that you are alone in this. No other race will support you. When you fail, and you will fail, Earth will be seen as weak and foolish throughout the galaxy." The transmission ended with Admiral Vex cutting the connection. Ross looked at his crew on the bridge. They all had worried expressions. Captain Dr. Torres said quietly, "Are we really going to ignore the most powerful races in the galaxy?" Ross looked out at the poisoned planet below them. Dr. Torres, "How many people live on Earth?" "About 12 billion, sir." "And how many Villani are left?" "Maybe 200,000. If we were the ones dying, and everyone else had given up on us, would you want someone to try helping anyway?" Torres nodded slowly. "Yes, sir, I would." Then we continue. 2 days later, 3 more human ships arrived in the Viridian system. They carried mining equipment, drilling machines, and over 300 volunteer workers. Most of them were miners and engineers from Earth's most dangerous industrial sites. Chief Engineer Patricia Adams led the mining team. She was a tough woman who had spent 20 years drilling in the deepest mines on Earth. When she saw the readings from Viridian Prime, she whistled softly. "This is going to be the most dangerous job any of us has ever attempted," she told her. "Team, the poison levels are extreme. The magnetic fields are chaotic. The drilling site is unstable. Anyone who wants to leave can do so now with no shame. Not one person left." On the planet's surface, Elder Kane had gathered 15 of the strongest remaining crystal singers. Lyra was among them. Despite her young age and the poison damage to her body, they stood around the proposed drilling site, a flat area near the largest crystal city. "The songs from deep below are very painful to hear," Lyra told Chief Adams. "The poison has made our world's voice twisted and angry, but we will listen anyway." Adams looked at the young Villani with respect. "Are you sure you can handle it?" "We have been handling pain for 50 years, Elder Kane answered. "We can handle a little more if it means saving our world." The drilling began at dawn. The human machines bit into the crystal ground while the Volani singers listened to the planet's responses. Every few hundred feet, they had to stop and adjust their approach based on what the singers heard. "The crystals are fighting the drill," Lyra called out during the first day. "But they are not angry at us. They're trying to protect us from something deeper." "What do you mean?" Adams asked. "There is something wrong far below. Something that hurts the crystals when we get close to it. They do not want us to reach it." Adams made adjustments to the drilling equipment. "We have to reach it. Whatever is down there is killing your people." The work was backbreaking. The human miners worked in shifts, spending hours in the toxic atmosphere wearing heavy protective suits. The Volani singers stayed at their posts despite the pain of listening to their world's poison songs. On the third day, disaster struck. A pocket of highly concentrated poison gas exploded from the drill site. 2 human miners were caught in the blast. Their protective suits were damaged, and the toxic gas began eating through the material. "Get them out of there," Adams shouted. But the miners were too far from safety. The poison would kill them before they could reach clean air. That was when Lyra did something unexpected. She ran toward the poison cloud. "Lyra, no," Elder Kane called after her. But Lyra began singing. Her voice rose above the noise of the drilling equipment and the hissing of escaping gas. She sang to the poison itself, begging it to retreat, to give the humans time to escape. Incredibly, the poison cloud began to thin. The toxic gas pulled back just enough for the 2 miners to stumble to safety. But the effort cost Lyra dearly. When she stopped singing, she collapsed to the ground. New cracks had appeared all over her crystal body. Dr. Torres ran to help her. "Lyra, why did you do that? You could have been killed." Lyra's voice was weak, but determined. "They came here to help us. We should help them too." The miners who had been saved looked at Lyra with amazement. One of them, a man named Frank Miller, knelt beside her. "Thank you," he said simply. "I have a daughter back on Earth. Because of you, I will see her again." Word of what Lyra had done spread quickly among both the human and Volani workers. The 2 species began working even more closely together. Human miners shared their food and water with Volani who were too weak to absorb energy properly. Volani singers used their abilities to help humans navigate the most dangerous parts of the drilling site. On the 5th day, they reached a depth of 8,000 feet. The drilling had become incredibly difficult. The magnetic fields were so chaotic that most of the electronic equipment had stopped working properly. The miners were forced to guide the drill by hand, feeling their way through the unstable rock. "We are getting close to something, Elder," Kane announced. "The songs are becoming more painful, but also more clear. There is definitely something large and damaged deep below us." Chief Adams checked her instruments. The few that still worked showed massive instability in the rock ahead. "How much deeper?" Lyra closed her eyes and listened carefully to the planet's voice. "Not far, maybe a few hundred feet, but the path is very dangerous. The rock could collapse. At any moment, then we go carefully," Adams decided. Going carefully was not enough. On the 6th day, the worst thing that could happen did happen. A massive section of the drill shaft collapsed. 6 human miners and 3 Volani singers were trapped deep underground. "We have to get them out," Miller said, preparing to go down into the unstable shaft. "It is too dangerous," Adams replied. "The whole site could collapse if we try to dig them out." That was when Elder Kane made a decision that surprised everyone. "I will go down to them. I can move through crystal and rock in ways that your people cannot. If the trapped workers are still alive, I can guide them to safety." "Elder Kane, you are the leader of your people," Dr. Torres protested. If something happens to you, if something happens to me, Lyra will lead in my place. But I cannot ask my people to risk their lives while I stay safe above ground." Elder Kane descended into the collapsed shaft, moving through the crystal walls like they were water. His ability to pass through certain types of rock allowed him to reach the trapped workers quickly. He found them alive, but badly injured. 2 of the human miners had broken legs. One of the Volani singers was so cracked that she could barely move. "Can you get us out of here?" Miller asked. Elder Kane looked around at the unstable walls. I can lead you through paths that your machines cannot follow, but we must move quickly. This entire area is ready to collapse completely, one by one. Elder Kane guided the trapped workers through narrow crystal passages that led back to the main shaft. It took hours of careful movement through spaces that were barely wide enough for a human body. When the last worker reached safety, Elder Kane collapsed from exhaustion. But he was smiling. "We are close," he told the assembled workers. "Very close. Tomorrow we will reach whatever is broken in our world's heart." Chief Adams looked at the damaged drilling equipment and the exhausted workers. Many of them were injured. The poison levels were getting stronger as they went deeper. Any sane person would stop the operation. "Tomorrow," she agreed. "We finish this job tomorrow." The 7th day of drilling began before dawn. Chief Adams stood at the edge of the shaft looking down into the darkness. Her equipment showed they were only 50 feet away from whatever was broken in the planet's core. "This is it," she told her team. "One more push, and we reach the source of the poison." Lyra was at her usual position near the drilling site, but she looked much weaker than before. The effort of saving the human miners had damaged her crystal body badly. Dark cracks ran through her form like spider webs. "Lyra," Dr. Torres said gently, "you should rest. You have done enough." "No," Lyra replied, her voice still musical, despite her weakness. "Today, we save our world. I must be here to listen when we reach the broken place." Elder Kane stood beside her, his own crystal body dim but determined. "She is right. This is the most important day in our people's history for 50 years. We will all be here." The drilling resumed. The human machines bit deeper into the rock while the Villani singers listened to the planet's increasingly painful songs. Every foot they descended made the work more dangerous. At 30 feet from the target, the drill hit something unexpected. Instead of rock or crystal, they found empty space. "There is a cavity down there," Chief Adams announced. "Something hollow in the planet's core." Lyra closed her eyes and concentrated on the sounds from below. Suddenly, her crystal body flared with bright light. "I can hear it clearly now. There is something moving down there. Something alive." "Alive?" Dr. Torres asked in surprise. Elder Kane looked shocked. "That is impossible. Nothing can live that deep in our world's core." But Lyra was certain. "It is alive, and it is in terrible pain. The songs I hear, they are not just from broken rock. They are cries for help." Chief Adams made a quick decision. "We are going down there, Miller. Get the emergency descent equipment ready." 20 minutes later, Adams, Miller, Dr. Torres, Elder Kane, and Lyra descended into the cavity on safety ropes. Their lights cut through the darkness as they dropped into the unknown. What they found at the bottom took their breath away. The cavity was huge, like an underground cathedral made of crystal. But in the center lay something that none of them had expected. It was a massive crystal creature, easily the size of a building. Its body was cracked and broken in dozens of places, and from those cracks flowed the purple poison that had been killing the planet. "By all the stars," Elder Kane whispered, "it is a world singer." "A what?" Dr. Torres asked. "A legend from our oldest stories. We thought they were myths. World singers were said to be the hearts of planets, the beings that kept worlds alive and healthy." Lyra moved closer to the massive creature. As she did, it turned what might have been a head toward her. Wow. When it spoke, its voice was like the sound of mountains moving. "Little crystal child," the world singer said weakly, "you have come at last. I have been calling for help for so long. You are the source of the poison." Lyra asked. "No, child, I am the victim of it. 50 years ago, something struck me from deep space. A piece of dark matter, moving faster than light. Gotcha. It cracked my body and filled me with poison. Since then, I have been slowly dying, and my death has been poisoning your world." Dr. Torres took out her scanning equipment. The readings showed massive damage to the creature's crystal structure. "Now the dark matter is still inside you, isn't it?" "Right. It is like an infection spreading through your body." "Yes," the world singer replied. "I have tried to contain it, to keep it from poisoning your people. But I am not strong enough anymore. Soon, I will die completely. And when I do, The poison will spread through the entire planet. Nothing will survive. Chief Adams studied the creature's wounds. As an engineer, she could see the problem clearly. The dark matter is embedded in your crystal structure. If we could remove it. How do you remove something made of dark matter? Miller asked. Elder Kane was thinking hard. On our world, crystals can heal if they are sung to properly. But this creature is too damaged, and the dark matter makes the songs painful. What if we combined human engineering with Villani crystal singing? Dr. Torres suggested. We could use our tools to extract the dark matter while you heal the wounds with your songs. Lyra stepped forward. I will do it. I will sing to the world's singer while the humans work. Lyra, no, Elder Kane protested. The dark matter will hurt you. Your body is already too damaged. If I do not try, we all die anyway, Lyra replied simply. The world's singer looked at the small group with something like hope in its ancient eyes. You would risk yourselves to save me. Even though I am not of your species. Of course, Dr. Torres said. All life has value. Then let us begin, the world singer said. But know that this will be dangerous for all of you. The dark matter fights back when it is threatened. Chief Adams and Miller began the delicate work of extracting dark matter from the creature's crystal body, used precision tools to carefully cut around the infected areas. Meanwhile, Lyra sang healing songs to help the crystal structure repair itself. The work was incredibly difficult. Every time they removed a piece of dark matter, the creature's body would shake with pain. The dark matter itself seemed to fight against being removed, sending out waves of toxic energy. After 2 hours of careful work, Lyra collapsed. The strain of singing healing songs while so close to dark matter had pushed her crystal body beyond its limits. New cracks appeared all over her form. Lyra. Elder Kane caught her as she fell. I can continue, she whispered, but her voice was barely audible. No, Elder Kane said firmly. I will take over. But the world's singer spoke up. Wait, there may be another way. Little crystal child, you have shown great courage. Let me share some of my energy with you. Before anyone could stop him, the world's singer reached out with one massive appendage and touched Lyra's damaged body. Light flowed from the ancient creature into the young Villani. The cracks in Lyra's crystal form began to heal. Her body became clearer and brighter than it had been in years. But more than that, she now glowed with the same deep, powerful light as the world singer. I can feel it, Lyra said in wonder. I can feel the planet's true song, the way it was before the poison. With her new strength, Lyra began singing. Again, this time her voice was incredibly powerful. The healing song she sang caused the world singer's wounds to close rapidly as Chief Adams and Miller removed the last pieces of dark matter. After 6 hours of work, they extracted the final fragment of dark matter from the world singer's body. The ancient creature's crystal form began to glow with healthy light for the first time in 50 years. It is done, the world singer said. Its voice now, strong and clear. The poison is gone. My world song can flow freely again. Almost immediately, they could feel the change. The air in the cavity became cleaner. The toxic purple mist that had filled the underground space began to clear. Elder Kane looked up toward the surface. The poison is leaving our world. Over the next several hours, they watched as Viridian Prime began to heal. The purple clouds that had covered the planet for 50 years started to dissipate. The toxic mist that had made the air deadly began to fade away. On the surface, the crystal cities began to glow brighter than they had in decades. Villani, who had been too weak to stand, found their strength returning. The crystal gardens that had been dying started to grow again. Dr. Torres took readings that showed the planet's atmosphere was rapidly becoming clean and breathable. It is working. The world singer is healing the entire planet. 6 months later, Captain Ross stood on the observation deck of the Endurance, looking down at Viridian Prime. The planet was beautiful again, its crystal cities shining like jewels against the clean blue-green atmosphere. Elder Kane's voice came through the communication system. Captain Ross, on behalf of all Villani, we thank you. You and your people saved our entire race. We worked together, Ross replied. That made all the difference. Indeed it did. And now, we wish to offer Earth something in return. Our crystal singers have learned to work with the world singer directly. We can teach your people technologies that will help you explore the galaxy in ways you never imagined. Dr. Torres looked up from her science station. Captain, they are offering to share quantum processing technology that is thousands of years ahead of anything we have ever seen? Ross smiled. Elder Kane, we accept your friendship and your knowledge. Together, we can explore the stars. On the bridge, Lieutenant Bell reported incoming transmissions. Sir, we are receiving messages from dozens of worlds. They've heard about what happened here. Many of them are requesting human assistance with their own problems. Chief Adams, who had returned to the ship but planned to stay in the Viridian system, laughed. Looks like we are going to be busy. From the planet's surface, Lyra's voice joined the conversation. Her crystal body had healed completely, and she now served as the primary link between the Villani and the world singer. Captain Ross, she said, the world singer has told us something important. There are other world singers in the galaxy, and some of them are in trouble like ours was. They need help too. Ross looked out at the stars, thinking about all the worlds that might need saving, all the species that might need hope. Then we had better get to work, he said. The Endurance prepared to leave orbit, but it would not be going alone. Villani ships would accompany it.